Welcome, welcome. We'll take a couple minutes for people to join in. This live session is called Man and Connection, and I want to salute you. Let me know where you're from. If you're watching this right now, let me know where you're from. If you have any questions, if you read the post up front and you have any questions, please drop them down below. I'm gonna invite the man, Bambos, to come live with me right now. Straight from Costa Rica to Cyprus. Over the world. Yes, there he is. There he is.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. So, just give a brief introduction, because I know you for less than a year, and I remember it was the beginning of this year that David was organizing like an ice swim, cold dip, and I remember like we were there, and then this like guy comes across, like I think you were like on your bike in your shorts and in your tank top, and it was like end of January or something, like -5 degrees Celsius. And you were like fully with a big smile, quite like it was in Amsterdam, quite like biking fast. And you like jumped off your bike and you were immediately starting to do jumping jacks. And I was in that period quite in like a situation like a little bit in my shelf, there happened some things in my life, and I looked at you and I thought like this guy has energy for life, and then I think you jumped quite fast in, and then later when you went out, you almost like immediately jumped on your bike and you said like, I'm already 2 hours outdoor in this outfit, I was training someone. I was like, this guy's nuts. And then later I found out that it was you, and yeah, we connected. But that was just like a fun introduction to our first connection.
I was no longer nuts.
No, exactly. You became totally normal after that. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Guido.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Man and connection. So I feel a connection to you, man, and that's I thought like it would be cool to start like with how I connected to you, and how later you did like a shoot, and I felt like you really created like a whole connection between all the models and everything, like it was really it went beyond my imagination of how a shoot would be. So I felt connected to how you did the work, like so passionate, so committed to making it a beautiful outcome. And when you talked about like that you want to bring men together for like experience, I was like, I want to just have a talk about like what connection means, what brotherhood means for you, and can for sure share something about it.
I think when I talk about connection, I always have to go back to when I was really young. So as a little boy, I was really bullied, and I remember not being able to find safety at home or in school, and there was always this constant tension in me, and I never really understood what was happening, but there was always a lot of chaos around me. As a child, I couldn't really put words and communicate, this doesn't work for me. Fast forward, 15 came, my dad left, I became the man of the house, and at that point, I just became a drug addict. And little did I know, 10 years in that drug addiction and 5 suicide attempts, all I wanted was love. Like, that was the driving force, love and connection. And when I realized that, and I came out of the 10-year, what I would call numbing, because the drugs actually numb me from feeling the pain of what I deeply desired. That's when I started to say, okay, I want connection. I'm going to create it in my own way. And you know, when you're a drug addict, it's one extreme. I flipped the other way, the other extreme, like being really open and almost intimidating to a lot of people, until I had to find that balance of breathing and doing it in a way which is more inviting, instead of that intense penetration, as I might describe it now.
Mm.
and
Wow, man.
when I picked up the camera, Guido, which is how we first interacted professionally, I discovered the camera is an amazing way to create connection, because as soon as someone puts a phone or this machine called a camera in your face, what people do is, and they immediately go to their heads and go, how am I supposed to be? Like body language, smile, like the space between our ears just like sabotages the natural connection that we have with ourselves. And when I saw that, I was like, I know how to guide people to connect.
Yeah.
And that's where the
Because you knew
journey
that
started.
with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story that I heard from like than most people talk about like their journey, how they started. So thanks for sharing that directly and going so deep.
Well,
I noticed that
it's exactly
I
what it
noticed
is.
that a couple people watching.
Yeah.
So if you have a question for Bambos or for me, like or about this topic, please share it below. Share it in the chat.
Nice. I see a few people that I love. My partner's also watching. Aanrakenisgoud, hello.
Hello.
So
What
I love about you, and why we even had the conversation recently, is because as I see you in where are you right now? Guatemala?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. And I see you connecting to nature and breathing and doing handstands and just like being one with nature, I would say, in a very playful way, in a very intimate way, and talking about breath and going back to basics. That's pretty much the essence of this retreat, going back to basics, like disconnecting from this extension of our hand that we always have a phone in our hand, right? And going back into a space of connecting to what's really alive for us. And especially for us men, I saw there's not so much support system for us men. Like coming back to Cyprus, my family's here and I have my sister's kids, and we're talking about sex, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about communication, we're talking about discomfort, what it means to be a man. And I'm like, wow, I wish when I was their age, I had someone to hold my hand and carry me through that journey. Because I have to tell you, to be where I am today, I fucked up so many relationships. And I use that word lightly, like I'm not judging myself, but I fucked up so many relationships before I met a mentor who gave me a hard mirror. And then I had to, what I did, and he also did it in his life, I went back and I apologized to every woman that I ever felt that I hurt. And that was my first step to taking responsibility. Not
so what
every
did you
woman.
do then?
I went back and I spoke to every woman that I ever interacted with and hurt.
Physically?
I would say because I wasn't very conscious, I was not able to hold a relationship.
No way, but I mean, like, did you talk to them like over the phone, or how did you connect?
I was calling, or I would text if they weren't picking up the phone. Not everyone picked up the phone, by the way, but at least I sent a voice message sharing.
You didn't call privately.
Yeah. And I think as soon as I saw me taking responsibility was a great way to step up in myself. And it wasn't easy. Like, I was almost scared, and some women would be like, I love you. And some women would say, I know where you came from. So I knew what I got myself into when I went with you. So that was really healing for me also, the feminine.
Wow. So you consciously reached out to the women that you connected in your past with
Yeah.
to apologize, or how did it go? Like, can you share like
So
one example?
yeah, of course. So coming off the drug addiction, even though I was sober, what came up was all of a sudden I'm not numbing myself, and everything I didn't deal with for those 10 years came up. Anger. Like I was judging my anger, I was judging my sex drive, I was judging my lust, and every relationship, every woman I would attract, it was almost like I was dating one of my parents, and everything was getting triggered. I was being very reactive, and it was very messy. Like the conversation. So what I did was, especially with one partner, I used to shout at her. Like I would pretty much get triggered, bottle it up, and then I would also explode on her, like verbally. And
Wow.
going back and just saying, "Hey, listen, I was completely incapable, and I'm deeply sorry for how I might have impacted your life, and I just want to let you know, to the best of my capacity, I did love you. I just was completely incapable of sharing from a very deep space."
Wow.
Ah,
Wow, man.
it's almost like as I speak, I need to relive. And you know, even going there now, I can feel the tears in my eyes because it just hurts. And that's also beautiful, by the way. It's not something that I need to push away, but it's not, it's me no longer suppressing that stuff anymore. So when we
No,
talk
no,
about,
exactly.
yeah, so when we talk about connection and also having a big part in, we talk about the carbon footprint. I feel that I've left a big footprint on a lot of women, as in terms of the unconscious masculine. And
Mm.
where I am today is like, wow, I can make a difference. I fucked up enough people's lives, and I've had a pretty tough journey to know what works and what doesn't work, and now I can bring something in which could benefit a lot of brothers.
Wow. Then it must like, impacted strongly on those women where you share that with, right? Like that after years and sometimes like maybe even
Yeah,
I don't know how long you come back with this apologies. Like I mean, yeah, I can
it,
imagine that has quite a strong impact.
yeah, it took a while, and it was very beautiful because for some women, having the apology and even saying "I love you," and I saw that they really needed to know that I felt that way.
Hmm. Wow,
Yeah,
that's a big blessing, man. Thanks for sharing that, speaking that out.
yeah.
Let me just post something in here for all the people that are joining later. Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
big lesson.
we could come here and do this live and speak as an authority, as men, and speak and not talk from the experience. And I don't feel that's clean. Like I feel a lot of guys. I'm also doing one-on-one coaching right now, and I see a lot of guys. When I share my own experiences and my own struggles and my own sufferings as a man, it really helps them and gives them permission to feel their own experience because there is no judgment.
Yeah, yeah, I resonate with that.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming from your own experience in that way, man. That's I think that's the most beautiful thing you can do, that you can share from your own experience. And I know there's a couple of brothers of me are watching, Jordi, Case. So yeah, man, I think that resonated as well with them. Let us know something if you want in the chat. So yeah, Bumbles.
Nice.
What I also notice, and that is also about that connection. You know, we shared like, we should have I initiated like, hey, we should have a conversation live, also to have that a little bit more spontaneous flow, because we can share something afterwards. But if we share something immediately, it is also like a little bit more raw, a little bit more unfiltered. And I love that because it creates this intimate, more intimate connection. And
Mm.
I don't know you for that long. I know you for like less than a year, but I know this, and I shared this with you before. Like with some people, you tend to have that immediate drop of layers of barriers that you like directly can connect on like a deeper level. And I noticed when I had that with you, I was like, that's what I grant for so many young men, for so many men, like in general, that they have other men to share with and to really drop their barriers down, and that we're not competing all together, but we're really here to help each other as brothers as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Thanks for being that brother.
It's like being with my sister's kids last night. We had like a Christmas. There was a lot of family in the house, and then one of my nephews wants to talk to me outside about what is going on in his life, and then my other nephew. And what I see is that we've never really had a proper father figure or proper mother figure. We've never had real conversations about how we're supposed to behave, how to deal with pain, how to deal with the trauma. Like, so when my mother, like, I'm not kidding right now, my mother's very conservative and she loves my girlfriend, and she says, "Oh, I'm so happy that you guys are together." And I'll say something just to trigger her, kind of a joke, and I'll play on that borderline. I'm like, "Mom," and she's such an amazing lover. And
Yeah.
I can see for her, it's like, "Oh my God, is this my son?" And we'll just laugh. We'll laugh. I'll hold her in my arms and we'll laugh it a little bit. But it's also me trying to bring in things which were never discussed in the family. And of course, we're having men's retreats. Women, I think, are more amazing in feeling and saying, "I want to be surrounded by women. I need that support. We're gonna talk. We're gonna chant. We're gonna like put it all out and do ceremonies and rituals." And for us men, it's not so easy to come together and even have male friends, because when I look back, there's a lot of comparing, and
Mm-hmm.
if we're not feeling good with ourselves, it's like there's that in our face, like, "Oh, I'm not good enough."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That I resonate with that, and that immediately brings me also back to the topic of connection. It's like when we all have like the five basic senses, and they're all like pointed outwards, and we're not like deep connected inwards, through meditation, through breath work,
Mm.
to any kind of like deeper ritual what you have with yourself. It's so easy to get distracted and to constantly be searching for something outside. And yeah, man,
Yeah,
that's it's such a blessing to do that together with men, man. To be like with brothers that really like embrace you. I noticed it
yeah,
several times, but also, yeah, also here, man. Like I'm here, it's such a blessing. But every time I'm like deeply connected with a brother, I feel again like that part in me just lit up. Like yes, like we're here together. It's not like you're not alone. Like although it might feel sometimes like you're a lone wolf, you're running for yourself, you're doing so many things, and that's how it felt to me at least sometimes in the past. Then when I connect with someone that is like-minded, I immediately like this drop down. Like, yes, we're here together as brothers.
yeah. But I would say presence invites presence.
Yeah, that's well said. Hey, I see that another brother of me is watching. Leslie, Vision by Rosa. What up, man?
Nice.
He got a kid last year. Last year, this brother. I see a
Well,
question.
yeah, men dare to durven moeilijke emoties tonen omdat het hun nooit is aangebeurd. Yeah, we never learn to share emotions, and he
Yeah,
finds that very important.
Do you understand the question?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. It's not a black and white thing. Like, uh, so I'm very comfortable at sharing my emotions if they come up. Like I've seen, I have a very high emotional intelligence, which means I'm very sensitive. So if I suppress anything, since a few years ago when I discovered this, I start to feel tension in my body. It's almost like my body starts to feel sick.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
not expressing and not sharing whatever's alive for me is almost committing a crime against my whole being. And but you can express emotions as a reaction, or you can express the emotion from a very grounded space, fully taking responsibility and owning them by allowing yourself to be seen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think recently I posted a video on my social media where I didn't have words, but my whole 7 minute video was me in tears at the airport in Schiphol. And I just didn't have any words. And I allowed that to be like that.
Mm. Wow. And what I notice, and I don't know if you have that as well, that when I'm sometimes emotional by myself, that I'm gonna search for a reason, like why are these emotions coming? You know, like what's the reason behind those emotions?
Yeah.
Can you resonate?
Um, I have to say that because of the emotional intelligence, the moment I try to analyze why they're happening, I go in my
Mm-hmm.
head and I disconnect from the emotions. So
Yeah,
there's almost like a part of me that needs to surrender and allow it to
yeah,
just move through me without needing to
exactly.
hold on or yeah. How is that for you?
Yeah, I resonate with that. I just noticed that I got a question quite a few times recently, and I said like, yeah, I mean, you know, like our body. I give the metaphors like this. I said like our head is just this big. I said our body's way bigger. So it's also in that matter we should use it more like percentage wise.
Yeah.
And since most of us are already so much spending so much time analyzing, you know, and overthinking stuff, it's way more valuable to be in your body and just feel like, hey, but what is this emotion? Uh, yeah, why does this emotion come up is an interesting question, but it's more like if it comes up, can we fully hold space right now and just breathe with that emotion? And yeah, that does way more wonders for me. And I shared in the beginning about like a little bit over a year ago, like a lady who was very close to me passed away. She ended her own life, and I noticed like there came such deep, intense emotional moments, like weeks after even, that I mean I could every time like overthink and think like, but I have to already express this emotion, right? Like I've already expressed so much, but that was not worth and would not be of service to that emotion, and also not to her, because these things that come up are not always rational, are not all, and that's what I really strongly connected with it. Although there were so many times that I thought like, but I'm really over it. Sometimes there still comes a tear in my eye, you know, and I still feel that I'm connected with her, although she's not here anymore.
Yeah. I find that very beautiful. It sounds to me that you're just allowing it to be there, the mourning, and it's not overtaking you, but you're just allowing it to just be there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, you see the other question from brother
Yeah.
Jordi?
How do you surrender to the emotions coming up? And if you do get swept away by them, what allows you to get yourself grounded again? There's a thing which happens when we feel emotions, either fight or flight. And I have to acknowledge that I had a really good mentor, Mr. Andy Shalev. And he told, like, during our coaching time, he said to me, "You're not allowed to fight and flight anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's about integrity. So I agreed to it because I saw that by fighting and flighting, I was always avoiding. And so the next time, let's say I got triggered and there was an emotion there, I couldn't run away from it and I couldn't push it away. So what happened? I just started crying. And it was just a release of tears. And I remember I had, and then the next step was you're not allowed to hide your face when you cry, and also not to tense your face. So I would sit in front of the mirror, and you know when you want to cry, you like tensing everything up. I had to practice allowing it, and not tense the jaw, and just allow it all to just be there, just be present with it. And I
Wow.
was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, oh, helplessness. But of course, there was a danger there that I could get stuck in that if that was like trigger emotion. So the next step was to breathe and just see it happening and not take it personal, because I was still being the emotion as opposed to, oh, it's just something that's moving through me, like
Yeah,
disidentifying from it.
being the
Um,
observer.
yeah. I do see breath work is really key. Like we talk about breath work. We by practicing it daily, even if it's 5 minutes or while you're training, to just invite breath. When you do get a moment when when you are holding your breath, and you become aware of it more quickly, you can catch it, and then you like start doing that breathing. The breathing won't save you from whatever's coming at you, but it will help you navigate it in a more grounded way, and that's where the
Mm.
groundedness comes. So having the breath work as a kind of ritual daily practice is an investment into how you navigate everything in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm
Wow.
not breathing good, Guido, so if I'm holding
Yeah.
my breath, if there's tension in my body, for me it's now a sign, yeah, I can start breathing, but it's like, what am I experiencing right now? Or what am I not trusting right now? Or where is a boundary being crossed? And I might meditate on some questions that might come up. And a few months ago, my partner has an ex-partner who's in jail, and he was verbally abusive to her in the relationship, and he'll be coming out, and he will look for her. In February, he's coming out. And I remember one evening, I went to bed after a conversation with my girlfriend. I lied in bed and I felt I was going to vomit. I felt uncomfortable, sweating, restless. And I wanted to push it away. I'm like, don't push this away. There's information that's coming at me, which is not comfortable. What am I sensing right now? And then I realized, and I picked up the phone. I called my girlfriend back because we were long distance back then. And I told her, babes, if you're, because her office was in some secluded area in Cyprus. I'm like, babes, if your boss doesn't implement cameras or some kind of security system at your work, you can't work there anymore, because when this guy comes out, you'll be in danger. And I allowed myself to go really extreme with seeing the potential of where she was, because it was dangerous. And as soon as I spoke it out, I relaxed and I let her take responsibility the way she wanted to, and she did fully. So sometimes this emotions that we want to push away can also speak to us and guide us to things which we're not really comfortably dealing with it. And in that moment, I didn't speak immediately because I didn't want to be judged as being too overprotective or whatever label might be there. And I allowed myself to be whatever I needed to be in order to communicate whatever was being channeled through me. Does that make sense?
To me it does. Maybe
Yeah.
my brother Jolero, you wanna say something? And yeah, you spoke a lot about breath work also during this. And I noticed that I got instantly like the memory of our conversation where you shared with me that you do like daily 1 hour to 1.5 hour breath work. Um,
Uh, It's not like I'd love to say that's the case, but it's not as much anymore.
Okay,
Um,
but that was
dur, dur,
back
yeah,
then.
during COVID, my photography business was hit really hard. I ran out of money. It got to the point where I was networking, cold emailing, grinding, but it wasn't coming from a healthy, giving place. It was coming from fear and survival, and my whole body was just in tension. And as soon as I started to entertain thoughts that I want to end my life.
Oh wow.
I was going through my phone, Guido, and I couldn't find a human being that I could call and say, "Hey, I need help right now." I thought, let's call the doctor, but then I thought they're just going to give me medication. So there was a helplessness, and I had no fucking escape. So it was either jumping off the balcony, and then I saw my yoga mat on the floor, and I just remember Wim Hof's what he says: "Breathe, motherfucker."
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Read.
sat down, I put my timer on for 90 seconds, so 90 minutes, and I did the breathe in 4 minutes, 4 seconds, hold 7 seconds, breathe out 8 seconds, 4, 7, 8 breath. And I did that, and it was amazing because after those 1.5 hours, I no longer felt that tension. It was almost like I had to go into my head to find the thing that was creating tension, and there was a spaciousness. And then I said to myself, Bambos, you need to do this every day, motherfucker, because if you don't, your life depends on it. Your life depends on it.
Yeah,
You can't afford not to sit down every day for 90 minutes or even 2 hours. It's an investment in your life right now. And that really transformed my whole game in how I dealt with things.
yeah, yeah. That's so strong, man.
So that was the
So
story
it's
I
really
shared with you.
4, 7, 8 breath.
That was a 4, 7, 8 breath.
Awesome, man. Such an impressive switch. I mean, that's yeah. You laugh about it right now, and I think yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like you go from the moment that you really had the thought, like jumping off the balcony. I mean, the thought doesn't equal the action, but it's the thought, and it's already quite radical. Maybe people who are watching this or watching this back might resonate. And then from that point, you do something that completely switches up the whole feeling, the whole mental stream, the whole emotional flow. And then you
Everything.
say to yourself, after that, if this has such a strong impact, such a profound impact, I'm gonna do this every day.
Yeah.
And that
I
was
would,
the
yeah,
situation.
I would say it's
Easy
one of
to
the
it.
reasons it really changed my life breath. I was doing a lot of physical workout, extremes, training in the cold exposure, and doing some breath work. But I would say, when when I'm sure you had the time you would go to the gym and you'd work out, and even after half a year, you don't see any improvement in your body because you're kind of working out, but you're not really working out. And I saw I was
Mm.
doing that with breath work. And it was only until I sat down and dedicated to a time frame and daily and devoted to it that it really shifted my life.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Impressive, man.
Um, we have another question from my brother. How to get from the knowing phase, knowing that you're not the emotion, to feeling and observing the emotions from a distance. Um, there's two things. Surround yourself with people that are living that. And I was very blessed with having several individuals in my life who were embodying that way of being. And it's a way of being. And again, my coach told me from now on, you're not trusting the noise between your ears. It's just a lot of noise. Stop trusting it. Like, like whatever it says, hold it, take it seriously, but hold it lightly. Take it seriously enough to listen to it, but don't let it take you like a river. And that's a practice. And again,
Mm.
breath work, meditation, it is about being present. Like when I meditate, it's more I'm breathing, I'm feeling myself. Oh, there's a thought, there's a thought, there's a thought. I'm seeing the thought, come back to the breath. And there's this constant table tennis game. And I'm like, isn't it ever going to get quiet? And I'm like, oh shit, it's never about getting quiet. At least my experience so far is about being aware that it's happening and being
Mm,
comfortable with it.
yeah.
How is that for you, Guido? Because I know you're also busy with a lot of breath work and meditation and
Thanks for the question. Thanks for passing the ball around. And
yeah.
so first of all, I think it's a very great question, and the fact that you already asked the question in such a way also gives me like, uh, I mean, the awareness that you're already busy with that for a while. Um, so what I do, and I have this many days, but I do a practice every day. It's like a 1.5 hour yoga practice with different types of meditation in between and types of breath work, and it's like really a ritual. But sometimes, like I started not with like 1.5 hours. I started with like 15 minutes, and then I build it out, build it out, build it out, and I noticed that my thoughts up front, it's never like that. My mind is excited about it, up front. Like the moment that I have to, or that I want to go do it, then it's always like a thought, like, okay, we can do this first, or there's this first, or this. There's always like something else. Although I know that the impact is always great after, it's always like getting to it is quite a challenge.
Mm.
But knowing, and that also is like with my journey so far, that I have gathered enough information from experience, from other people's experience, that the mind and my mind is great in serving me if I give it like instruction, but it's not great if it is my boss or my director. Like if I let my mind take over and just like surrender to whatever comes and do that, then I'm constantly busy with nothing. So knowing that I'm like in service of life, but I'm the master of my mind, and not that I have to control it all the time, but I can choose in which direction I take it.
Mm.
And knowing that gives me such a strong feeling of like I'm in the one that decides like which direction this whole being goes, and that, yeah, knowing that is just like very liberating as well. So yeah, practicing meditation and really focusing on being in the eye of the storm helps a lot. Like standard Anapana practice, focusing on the flow of the breath, that helps a lot for me. But like just the awareness that you are a great master of your mind, but the mind is a very awful boss of you. So the mind will enslave you if you let it, right? And
Mm.
that's I think that's great to know that you're really like, yeah, be like you said it, like don't take it too serious, but also don't take it too lightly, right? Something like that you shared.
Take it seriously, but hold it lightly.
Ah, yeah, that was it. So yeah, be aware of like that. Sometimes you have a stream of thoughts like, is this really something that's worthy of my attention so long?
Mm.
And that's also an interesting question that I reflect upon sometimes. Like, hey, but I'm busy with this for such a while now. Why am I busy for it for so long?
And if you have to guess, what's the answer?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like I don't do that too much, like guesswork, or I didn't understand the question fully.
Oh, so what you said, you asked that question a lot. So what kind of answers have come for you?
Yeah, it depends, of course, on the topic, but I noticed that quite sometimes I'm just, running in loops in my head. Like even, and I'm quite strong on this, like my first organization that still exists, like Goal Train it's all about like setting a goal for yourself and then letting life pave the way for you towards it. But of course, that requires individual action as well, individual responsibility. at the same time, I think that there's too much clutter, too many things in my mind, in most people's mind, that they haven't fully worked through yet. Like we have a subconscious, and you will probably not work through your whole subconscious in your lifetime. So if all the things you do in your life are just gonna be based on your own individual goals, yeah, it's kind of like you're recycling a lot, because the subconscious that I have is already something that I have gathered, along the way, either conscious or subconscious. Like I've gathered that. So being in service and being beyond my own goals, being kind of like in service of life and what I see around me happening, and being able to tune into that, to kind of like surf on the wave of life that is going on right now around me, in me. I think that's a whole different level of life, of tapping into life. And that's actually more what I aim for. That this is really like something that lives in me alone, or is this something that life asks for me? Do I really feel the invitation on a deeper level, like to go with this wave? Merry Christmas, by the way. Forgot it. I think now
Merry
of it, like,
Christmas.
oh yeah, it's Christmas. It's so funny. I'm always forgetting it. It's amazing to celebrate it here, though.
With a warm climate.
With a warm climate, with people that are like open to celebrate it together. And weirdly sad that's even like not the case in the Netherlands now with everyone. Like, I don't know why exactly, but let's not speak about that. I think it's more what I notice is that if I'm in a place where people are on a certain level of like awareness, let's say openness to embrace also the less comfortable parts about themselves, then they also tend to automatically do that to each other, right? And to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's the key why I thought like, fuck man, the retreat that you're holding, that there must be something great. I'm unfortunately, or I happen not to be at the first one, but I thought like I want to create some kind of platform to just at least talk with you and to create this space with you to see who's tuning in and who's watching back and into the wild for men.
Into the wild for men, into our own inner wildness. I mean, I'm in Cyprus right now. There's a lot of, like where I'm staying, there's actually nothing around. There's a church across my window and that's it. A lot of farmland. But I noticed 10th of November, I'm sitting in my ice bath here in Cyprus. And I was thinking, and I made a video, and in that video I said, I'm going to create a men's retreat. It's been bubbling in me for a while and I wasn't talking about it, and I really felt compelled to create something like this. And my mind was sabotaging what I would bring in a way that you've never done this, the noise. And it was funny because all of a sudden I started making videos every day talking about this men's retreat, this experience, but sharing from a space of, as a man, these are the kind of things I've had to deal with in my life, and these are how I've navigated it. And 2 weeks in, I've had people come in and say, hey, I want to help you build a website. I love your videos. Another person said, I want to help you with the marketing. And all of a sudden, I'm like sitting back and I'm like, oh, so this is what creating from a surrendered place feels like the masculine that needs to push and promote and create wasn't there. It was more like doing videos, and I'm like, oh, the videos are fun, so let's do videos. And all of a sudden people want to support that journey. It felt like, oh, it's actually just being created by itself. Like, I'm feeling very blessed. And even you coming, you're just one of the individuals that came my way and said, hey, I want to do some things to share your event a little bit, because I find it very important. So for me, I'm just sitting back and watching a Harry Potter movie, actually, or living it.
Yeah, I love it, man, because there's also magic involved.
Yeah. So as you know yourself, the body, and we're going to just talk about men now. If you're a woman identified as a man, you're also part of this. So if you're someone that identifies with the masculine energy, physical training has really been a way to access something really savage in us. And I'm not talking about savage from the unconscious, but really the raw masculine. So
Yeah,
you'll see me when I lived in the Netherlands. I was almost proud to say I didn't wear winter jackets anymore, winter clothes. I was circulating in shorts and tank tops throughout the whole winter, throughout the whole year. And
I
it did
I can
something.
confirm.
Yeah, and it did something to my whole being. The way I would walk, the way I dealt with people, I saw that it was a more because when you put your body through discomfort, when life will give you some level of discomfort, you're less reactive to it. So it's not only the physical. I'm intertwining the breath work again. And I had a great example yesterday, Guido. 2 days ago, I mean, I'm crossing the border to go to the Turkish side here in Cyprus. And just before we get there, the car stops. I saw my partner having a little bit of tension about it. It's her car. And I'm like, honey, we've got this. We pushed the car a bit, it worked, and then we're driving again. We get to the
Yeah,
borders, we're waiting in a long line, and then the officer there says, you need insurance. And I'm like, okay, where do we get the insurance? Over there. So we had to park the car, go back, and get the insurance. We're standing in the line, and then the individual there says, you can't pay with a card. You need cash. And I said, no problem. I'm good. I was wearing my shorts. I've got my running shoes on. I'm going to Google where the nearest bank is. I'm going to run. So it felt like everything was dealt with no problem. And it wasn't coming from a place of force. It was really not a problem. It was like, oh,
yeah,
there's a bit of resistance here. Ooh, it feels like, what can I do now to change the energy? And what I saw my partner
yeah,
is seeing me dealing with it in such a loving way. Like, we're going to go run. It took me 15 minutes there and back, half an hour altogether. I could see
yeah,
that she surrenders and relaxes into me because, wow, he's not reacting.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so coming back to the physical training, dealing with discomfort, training under all weather conditions, is a way to deal with when life is bringing you circumstances where you might get triggered. Oh shit, I'm having a bad day. Or it's like, oh, how can I use this as an opportunity to dance with it, breathe with it, and almost surrender. Like, I even was surrendered. If it doesn't happen, if we're not allowed to go to the north side, I'm like, honey, we're just going to go back home. We're going to have passionate lovemaking. I don't care. Like, the outer circumstance did not define the joy, the journey.
No, no, agree, agree, man. Sometimes you get a lot of external resistance, and it's all a test or in some level.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
Into
love
the
that.
Wild is not only about the physical discomfort, the breath work. It's not. We're also going to be doing things like, how many men out there know how to massage their balls and do self practice, cultivate that sexual energy, and use that for creativity. Practice seed
Yeah,
retention and doing.
you can't give a workshop on Instagram with that now.
No, we're not. But
I would watch out for that.
it's again things that we men don't really talk about unless we stumble onto a beginner tantra course somewhere at some party. But in general, there's not really a space where there's a deep dive in addressing every single area that we struggle with: communication, listening, holding space. I had a moment while we were talking, and I had a voice in my head which said, "You're talking too much." And I said, "You know what? Yes, I am. Isn't it fucking great?" And
Yeah.
so, and in the past, you'll be like, "I'm talking too much," and that thought might shut me down and take away my voice because I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
too
exactly.
much. And it's like, I am too much. I am too much. So there's a constant awareness, coming back and being. Awareness and not taking this shit seriously. If this shit was taken seriously, Guido, I would not be offering a men's retreat. I would not have made something like 20, 30 videos so far on this Instagram. It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you recognize it because you've created such amazing projects in your life that it's not possible to create if you're holding back in any way.
No, man. Thank you. And it's definitely not, because like even like this shit, but like also the external clutter, because I have like a old friend group, and I mean they're all good guys, they have no wrong intentions or whatnot. But it's just like when I stopped with university, and I said like, fuck, I'm gonna do it this on a whole different way. I worked in a gym, and I wanted to create like a new group class because I found the group classes that they had in the gym boring. I said like, yeah, they're all the same. So I wanted to do calisthenics, like bodyweight training inside of a gym. And people were looking at me like, also old friends, like, in a gym, get bodyweight training. Why would people come there? I was like, yeah, why not? So, and yeah, but the owner won't allow it, this, that, all kinds of voices externally. But the only thing that matters is that you really go and set a step and take one step to the front and say like, we're doing it. And then other people that find it interesting, hey, what's that? And then all of a sudden this whole flow shifts. And then the funny thing, and that's also why I want to share it, is like that after a while, even the people that were a little bit hesitant or doubtful or like asking questions up front, were afterwards like asking like, hey, can I also join? Or hey, like that is always gonna happen. Like in the beginning, not
Mm.
everyone is super excited for the thing where you start with, but if you are yourself, at least, that's matters way more than whoever is gonna be excited or not for your idea. So I love that you pushed or actually sat back with it, spoke it out, and then took a step back and let it sort of unfold. I think there's a great balance in that.
Mm. Yeah, I'm still sitting with what you were sharing about your own journey. Like it's hard enough having this going on, but having outer clutter is just challenging because if you believe one person that you love and it validates the limited belief that you have in your head, that's a lot to go against. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, because I know it is like you have this page, and it was like your second page. I think you changed it. You first had this page as a training page, but you have like your first or your regular company organization page, like unmasked photography. And this is like it started as a fun project, like you're just gonna do this on the side, and now it feels like you're like feeling so much direction to this one that all of a sudden it feels like the attraction is going towards it, the energy is moving towards this.
Yeah. It actually started when I was in the Netherlands and I started doing the breath work. I got more creative and I said, shit, if the government is saying you can't interact with people for now, then they're taking away my potential to make an income. And then I thought, I train every day at 5 a.m. and I do cold exposure and I see the benefits. So I did a company called Base Training, like physical one-on-one trainings, where I'll take guys out. But no one wanted to come at 5 a.m. No one wanted to, like, it was too early or it's too tough. Oh, you need to bring tea. And at some point, I was like, no, 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 no. That's not the vision. The vision is you guys don't get it. It is not about the physical training. It's about a lifestyle. And the fact that
Yeah.
you're complaining about the time and about you want tea, I kind of saw this is actually not about the physical training at all. This is about a way of being.
Mm.
And it comes back to also another video where I made about comfort. Like I'm in Cyprus right now. I don't have a car. Everything's really far. Like, and when I want to get from A to B, I just put them on my running shoes, a backpack with water, and I start running. And I'm so fit right now. It's scary. I just run everywhere I go, and and it's insane. But as I'm
I
running
love.
and I start to see the world around me, I just see people driving really bad postures, not looking happy, and I'm like, fuck. It almost feels like the we earn money to buy comfort, and that comfort takes away from our health. The
Yeah,
more
yeah, or joy. Yeah, health, joy, vibrancy of life.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Not always, by the way.
No.
Like I love some comfort in my life, but I've become very conscious about not to allow the comfort to use me. So I'm not
I
jumping
love
in a car to go and buy to the supermarket. Like I'll go and all of a sudden I got a good workout. I've taken some time away from my desk. But yeah, it's the comfort and where this shows up in my relationship, because I'm no longer complaining about discomfort, I can love when my partner feels uncomfortable. I'm not judging her. It shouldn't be anything else. And by holding space for her, she gets to step into her own power, actually, is what I see happening now. It's really transforming our relationship. And as I see relationships are, we're like elevating each other to higher potential as
Mm,
human beings.
beautiful, beautiful. I love that you're running everywhere, man. That's amazing. Thanks for
Guido,
sharing that, man.
I have something that I want to share, which was I became aware of it last night, and it's kind of still very raw. I woke up at 3 in the morning, and I turned around and I looked at my partner, and for I was just looking at her, Guido, and I felt really blessed. And I recognized that I spent a lot of my life struggling to find a relationship. I always had to tone down my intensity or adapt myself so the other person can be comfortable. And in the end, we were both not happy.
Mm,
And as I'm lying in bed next to this woman, I realized at some point I just stopped trying to be more or less than what I was in that moment. And that actually made space for someone to meet me. And I just felt really blessed. And at the age of 45, I'm fucking in love again. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't
what?
know.
You're 45, right?
Yeah. So I
You are
didn't realize,
45.
yeah, it's the
Oh yeah,
aspects.
I always forget that, man. You're fucking 45. That's crazy.
You're 10 years younger than me or 12 or
Yeah,
something, right?
15.
15. Wow.
Yeah, or 16 even actually. Bless you, bro. And you know
Mm.
what the fun thing is? That like there's still this old voice in me that would say like, oh, you have good genes. You know, maybe people even thought that like when you just said it, oh, you have good genes. And fuck those genes, man. Like genes are for sure like something. And what is way more gonna matter in your life, period, is what the fuck are you doing every day? Ice baths, running through whatever, breath work. Love it, bro. 45 years old.
And I never want to give the illusion that all these tools are just tools. Like everything is done intentionally. Like my coach, he doesn't do shit like that, but he's one of the most grounded like people that I know. He's almost like a Buddhist. He lives in the moment, very present, and very successful in his life. Also, not only financially but also in his relationship with his wife. Like I
We're
look at
talking
him,
Andy.
Andy,
Andy?
yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
he doesn't do things to be anything. He just is, right? So I'm looking at the guy, and then the only thing in his life which I saw him struggling with was his physical. He had a bit of a belly, and he never thought
yeah,
it a problem. He's comfortable, but he said to me
yeah.
one day, the moment I couldn't bend over to tie my shoelaces, I realized I had to do something with that. And he started walking for hours a day, and he lost that weight. So he'll do
Oh
things
wow.
as oh, I need to do this now. It's a problem, and now he's looking so good. It's insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
bless him.
so the reason I'm bringing this up is because again, I never want to pretend like this retreat is offering tools, but it's really the intention that someone comes in. If you come in and you
Yeah.
think this is going to save you, it's not. This retreat is definitely designed for my hope for every guy that joins is to fall in love and become more of what they are. Stop fucking diminishing your fire. Start fucking breathing and start loving yourself. Because if you don't love the fuck out of yourself, who is? And obviously, when I speak these words, I struggled with that for a big part of my own life during my drug addiction. So, yeah.
Brother, bless the journey that you're on, man. I just want to like give a shout out to people that were watching all the way with us. Maybe you have like a last question or something. It's now the
Yeah.
time. And yeah, man, it's such a blessing to have you on to share this digital moment with you in this way. Truly feel that we connected in this way, and I got to know you a little bit better. And yeah, I want to thank you for taking the energy, taking out the time for this moment, to spend this moment with me.
Love you, man. Thank you for creating the time for this. Like, like I feel very humbled that you create time from your day to sit down with me and just talk about this. It was like, what shall we talk about? And it was like, I don't know what the fuck we should talk about. Let's talk about connection, okay? And
Yeah,
it felt like we didn't even take it seriously or like it had to be something. So I felt very relaxed that we weren't going to perform or yeah,
no,
like
man, that's
or live up to something, you know?
exactly, man, exactly. That's the last thing that I want to do because I don't do that in my whole life, and it'd be very weird if I do a live session all of a sudden where I'm gonna like prepare something very nicely or something or sit with a suit on. I don't know, man. Like I'm just not into that anymore. And I say anymore because like I noticed in the past I was like, oh, I have to dress up for that or like something. Just feel in the moment. I'm feeling like this and I am like this. And this is
Mm.
how I show up.
I have to say, I like your backdrop more than mine.
This one?
Yeah, this is beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's you like the painting, no?
That's not a
No, man.
painting,
Hey,
though.
bless you. No, that's definitely not. That's definitely not. That's rainforest.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Give a big hug to your family, friends, whoever you're gonna see today. And yeah, we're all together in this. Although we're individual beings, we're also united. And
Yeah.
yeah, into the wild for men. Make it happen, bro.
Much love. Thank you.
Salute.
Salute.